Hey guys, Ball Guy Deer Farming here. I'm in the greenhouse tonight. Wanted to show you guys what I'm doing electrically for heat in this greenhouse. I've got a little Ryan greenhouse I've had for 10 years. It's around 8 by 16 foot long. It's not too tall, so I just run a 1500 watt heater out there, and for the most part it does well. I have another 1500 watt heater backup, but in this greenhouse it's bigger. This is going to be 12.5 by 20 foot long, and it's going to be about 11 foot tall at the ridge board. So what I did, I'm using a Comfort Zone 240 volt heater. It's got a choice 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000 watt setting. I decided to wire it where I could plug it in, because you can see in the summertime it would get into my tomato vines, which are still growing. So I had to kind of slide that cable runner out of the way, but I can take it back down. So I'm using a 30 amp 220 breaker. This heater pulls about 22 amps, so that's going to be sufficient. I'm using a Honeywell 220 inline thermostat. Typically you're going to see me in a greenhouse where I am in Alabama keep it on about 40 degrees in the wintertime. We just don't get too cold down here, so I just want to keep my plants that are in the ground, my bougainvillea, and then my palms that I'll have in here over the winter. That's all I need to keep them alive, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to grow garden in the wintertime. Only thing I did different, I mounted a box with a relay in it and jumped a 110 outlet over. So when this thermostat calls for heat, I'm gonna turn it on. You should hear the relay make. So the relay also kicks on. So I did that so I could also, have the heat here, which you can see it's on. But also, I wanted a ceiling fan. I just put a box. You're not going to be able to see it well. It's night, but I have a box fan in the top. And so what that relay allows me to do is when the thermostat calls for heat, it also calls for that fan to come on, just to give me extra circulation, keep a more even heat distribution. Now, probably what I'm going to do to start here, even with this thing set at 40 degrees, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off, is I'll probably set that Comfort Zone on the 3,000 watt setting, and then if I know it's going to be a really cold night, I can always bump it up to the 5,000 watt setting. Also, I'd originally wired this to have a couple of outlets just for 1,500 watt little space heaters that I put a digital thermostat into that plug, and then plug the heater into the digital thermostat. So I'll use that as a backup in case I had a heater fail here. I know I'd have at least a 1,500 watt backup, and I actually have another plug I could add another 1,500 watts. So technically I have enough wire in the ground to run 8,000 watts of heat out here if I wanted to. I happen to have a generator backup coming from the house, so the only way I'd have a fail would be if one of my heaters failed. But I always keep a little propane heater in my greenhouses, just in case something happens electrically. You never know when you have something in the ground, something could chew it or something. So I always have a propane backup just in case, because I don't want anything to die because of that. But that's what I did. It seems to be working well. So basically I got the 220 coming from the box, 220 into the thermostat, 220 going to the relay, 220 coming out of the relay, but also jumping a 110 to that plug for the fan that also kicks on when the heater kicks on. So that's what I'm going to do to heat. Like I said, all I've got to keep alive really is palms, this bougainvillea in the ground, and then I have a couple of rain barrel harvesting barrels inside the greenhouse. I have some on the outside too, but they'll be drained in the wintertime. So I water my palms and stuff about once a week in the winter. So I'd want to have, obviously keep them from freezing up. So that's pretty much it. I think it's going to work well. So far, you know, testing it out, this is the first cool night we've had. This is the middle of September, and it's finally giving me an opportunity to at least test the heater out, just to make sure everything's working appropriately. So anyway, if you have any comments, I'm glad to hear them. But that's what I did, and hopefully it's going to work well. Thanks for watching.